Welcome to the session on planning and organizing nursing services. It is very important to understand first the basic concepts regarding the management. So let us first see what is management, at what levels, who is doing planning or implementing the plan which is being made for the organization, and what are the basic principles before we go to the planning. So management is a universal phenomena which is applied in all the organizations wherever you work, maybe hospital, any health organization, in the community, research center, even at the home and your day-to-day activities, you plan the things. The manager always keep in mind the limited resources, equipment and supplies available for when they do the planning. Although it seems simple, that it's so easy to plan the things, but yes, a manager needs to follow certain management approaches, should have management skills, follow management styles, follow techniques and elements of management. They are being taken into consideration to get the work done from the people. What is the importance of management? That helps to achieve the organizational goals, teamwork and coordination or collaboration of the employees which help them to complete the task, leads to cost effectiveness and completing the work in time. It motivates the employees to achieve the organizational objectives. Then the levels of management. As we know, there are 3 levels of management. That is top level. From the hospital, if I give the example, that is your medical superintendent, additional MS, nursing superintendent or CNO, and various other top level managers who actually make policies, follow the plan of the state and keep in mind the national health goals. They sit together and make a plan, evaluate the previous outcomes of the hospital. They see that the overall coordination is there so that the objectives are being achieved. Your middle level is your ANS. That means she is a link between your top level and the first level supervisor. When the plan is being finalized, your nursing superintendent will communicate the nursing service department plan to the ANS because they are departmental heads. They will review the plan and try to see that all the facilities, equipment and supplies are available in all the units under them, and they communicate the plan to the first level supervisor, that is your senior nursing officer or ward in charge. The day-to-day supervision and activities are taken care of by the ward in charge. She supervises and monitors day-to-day activities of the nursing officers and see that the plan is being implemented. She is also responsible for the future demands and activities. She has to plan the teaching activities, see to that students who are coming from school or college of nursing also get the experience in the ward. Now Henry Fayol has given certain principles of management, which will in short we'll try to understand. First is division of work. As we know, in the hospital there is division of work. Doctors are doing the medical treatment, nurses are giving the nursing care because they need a specialized skills. There is support staff, there is allied health personnel, pharmacy, occupational therapists and various other departments are there. Authority and responsibility. Authority is right to give orders and subordinate has to follow. But responsibility is to perform the assigned job in time. Authority and responsibility goes hand in hand. If the authority is given to the manager to get the work done, they should be responsible if something goes right or even if something goes wrong. They cannot blame their staff. They should be responsible. Then discipline. various rules and regulations are being framed and followed by the institution, which are being taken into consideration by the managers. That's why there has to be good supervisors at all level, and there has to be clear-cut directions and the, you can say, responsibilities, and the right people should be appointed. Unity of command. In every organization, employee should get command only from the one supervisor. If suppose there is conflict between the supervisors, like if nursing superintendent also gives some instruction and ANS also gives some instruction and they are different, so it becomes very difficult for the employee which one to follow. So there has to be a coordination between when any direction or command is being given to the employees at the level of ward in charge or senior nursing officers or the clinical nurses. Then unity of direction. There has to be one plan in the nursing department and one head. That means CNO or the nursing superintendent should be the head. In case medical superintendent start giving the directions for day-to-day activities, then again there will be a confusion. So, and even the nursing superintendent has to make the nursing plan according to the hospital plan. Then there is a scalar chain. That means there is a relationship between top two level. Your highest level is nursing superintendent, ANS or DNS, then ANS, senior nursing officer and nursing officer. And from bottom to top, the same things goes up. Order. That means right person is placed at the right job. Because suppose in the operation theatre, there is a complicated operations are there and newly appointed nurse is being appointed. She may not be able to assist the surgeon. So you have to see a trained, experienced person is posted in the operation theatre. Equity, all employees to be treated equally. There should not be any biasness, because if there is biasness, equal opportunity is not given, transfer policy is not applicable same to everyone, the staff get demotivated. Stabilization of personnel means retention of the people in the hospital, human resource. If you see in the hospital, especially in the private hospital, nurses leave the hospital maybe after 3 months, 6 months, after 1 year, maybe if they get a government job or they go abroad. Even nowadays from the government hospital also, young nurses are leaving. So how to retain the staff? That is very important function of a manager. Then centralization and decentralization. How the decisions will be taken? There are certain conditions where centralized decision will be taken by the nursing superintendent or the ANS. And even in the disasters, centralized decisions are taken. But in day-to-day activities, keeping into consideration the experience of the staff, decentralized decision making can be encouraged. Remuneration, everyone should get the equal pay for the same work. But if you see in our hospitals, in the private sector, remuneration is very different and very different in the government sector. That's why nurses in the private sector are not satisfied with their work and they get demotivated. Then spirit de corps, one should work as a team member. Interdisciplinary and intradisciplinary, because one has to collaborate in the hospital to provide the patient care. And subordinate interest should be higher than should not be higher than the organizational interest. That means everyone should work for the organization and they should try to achieve the objectives of the organization. And many a times you must have seen, if your organizational objectives are achieved, your individual objectives are also achieved. So let us see now what are the elements of the management. That is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, reporting and budgeting. In this session, we will put emphasis on planning and organizing. Planning. I think all of you are doing planning. When you leave home, you plan for your home. What all things has to be done in the morning and the full day, and who will do that and how they will do that. and how much money is to be spent, how much time is to be spent. When you come to your department, you plan for the patient care. Full day care is for your 8 hours, you plan the care. Same way, your nursing manager has to plan the activities for the nursing department. Planning is the first step of any process in the management. Planning by fuel means forecasting, then drafting a plan. Forecasting is very important. Your assessment, what are the resources, what are the gaps, and what are the future demands, prospects, because this is the base for all other activities. And planning has to be done patiently, and one has to spend the time and very carefully analyze the data also. How the planning is done? I think as you do your patient care planning, you do assessment, collect the data, organize it, review it, set priorities. Same way your nurse manager will forecast. By forecasting, they will collect all the facts, organize and analyze them. Then discuss in detail within the department first, then with the hospital administrators, and it should be based on the factual evidence, not just on the opinion. And planning should be simple, clear, realistic, dynamic and flexible. You have to take into consideration what are the limited resources, man, money, material and human resource, what are the strengths and weaknesses, what are the opportunities and what are the future prospects. It should be based on the philosophy, policies of the hospital, overall health plan of your state or of the district, and plan should be, once it is being approved, it should be communicated to all the stakeholders in the hospital. Planning is the most important crucial factor. That means what to do, when to do and how to do. You have to answer these questions. Objectives are being set, long-term objectives and short-term objectives are being set with the financial implication. And this will help to review and analyze and do the monitoring after whatever, maybe after 6 months, maybe after 1 year, to again review the targets, how to achieve them. Then planning takes into consideration the present. What are the gaps? How to fill the gaps? Where we will be in the future? Therefore, every organization set objectives and formulate plan of action to achieve the objectives. If you see even Government of India plan, state plan, national plan, district plan, everywhere you will find. First they give the review. Where are the gaps? What is the present condition? Where we want to go in future? What are the targets? What are the achievement? How much money they have spent in the previous plan and how much they need it. Then planning lays down the formation, or you can say framework for other functions. What will be how to organize the work, how much staff you need, what will the controlling and directing methods and monitoring will be there. So in this way, we can say there are 2 types of planning. Strategic planning, that is concerned with the broad objective, policies and plan. This is made by your top level managers, your medical superintendent, nursing superintendent and various other heads. They view the health policy of the state, health department to provide services to the community. At this stage of planning, all the concerned departmental heads are being involved. Therefore, your nurse manager, CNO and the nursing superintendent has to play very important role when strategic planning is being done. Then operational planning. Once the planning is being done, it has to be implemented. Plan is ready, but who will implement? That is your middle level and the first level or managers have to do. They plan for the future. That means in case the existing department needs to be upgraded or additional services to be added, side by side they will make a plan how to expand in future in case a Nowadays, like mother and child health department has to be separated. So they will plan for that. How much manpower, equipment, supplies, space is to be there. So they will submit it. And they will communicate the already existing plan to the senior nursing officer so that she can communicate and implement the plan. So steps of planning, just let us review, analyze the situation, identify the priority and the problems, setting up goals and objectives, reviewing the strengths and limitations, formulate policies, final plan, it has to be presented, approval has to be taken from the competent authority, and most important step, it has to be communicated to all the stakeholders in the hospital, which is the little bit a point where very few people communicate the plan to the implementers. So it is very important even to communicate so that they are able to know what you have planned, how to achieve these objectives, and in case they have any questions, they can ask and come for the help also. Then nursing service department planning. Just a review. Policies and objectives are based on the hospital policy and the objectives. Very important to keep this in mind. Forecast the real situation. That is, situational analysis is to be done. Formulate objective and set goals. Because factors taken into consideration, number and types of patients, nursing services required in the hospital, what are the various nursing procedures, because you have to set demand for the equipment and supplies, number and type of nurses required, provision of equipment and supplies, physical facilities and the environment. Then plan should be realistic and flexible. In case number of nursing personnel is less, then again one has to plan how to mix match, where to repost the people, how to do skill mixing of the nursing staff, monitoring and evaluating of nursing services, motivate and develop staff for the future, solve the problems of the staff. Very important, appreciate the staff, motivate them to retain them so that nursing service department can provide the quality, cost-effective care to the patient. I hope this diagram will help you to understand how to go through and make a plan for the nursing department. Now just a sample how the state level plan is being made. This is the introduction they give. Then they write what actually they are able to achieve. Then they new initiatives they write, and little bit about the description they write, even the goals they write. Then how much financial, how much they have spent, how much they need in the future. So these are the achievement of the previous years, and targets again they specify so that when they do monitoring or when they take the feedback, they know these were the targets and how much they have achieved. These are the budget heads, whatever they have previously spent, how much money expenditure was there and how much they need in the future, maybe of various departments or various units under them. So much of detail is being done. So nurse manager should have to understand what is her role, how much base work she has to do for the planning of nursing services. Then what are the features? Just to summarize, it is pervasive, that is implemented in all the organizations at all levels. It is a continuous process. It will never stop. You have to go on planning, go on monitoring, taking feedback, do evaluation, then plan for the next step. Focus to achieve the objectives. It is futuristic. Then involves alternative course of action. Like you make patient care plan, there is alternative actions are there. Same way, during this plan, you have to keep alternatives. If one activity you are doing and some plan activity related to that you are not able to fulfill the objective, you will have a second alternative. Then involve decision making, and it's a intellectual process. Then organizing, the second most important factor. It is a formal structure of an organization. It shows hierarchy, relationship, authority and responsibility. determines human resource of the organization. Type of job and the type of workers are there in an organization help to achieve the objectives. You must have seen organization chart in your outside the medical superintendent room or inside somewhere in the administration. If someone comes to an organization, if they see the organization chart, they will come to know what type of activities this hospital is providing. How many category of staff is there? What is their position? What is their level? At what level they are working? Who is under them? So this actually is a formal structure of an organization. So organizing job responsibilities, duties are assigned. Grouping of tasks is done, establishing authority, allocating resources to carry out the activities. That means who will do a particular task, where it will be done, when it will be done. Like nursing activities will be done by the nursing department. Treatment part will be looked after by the medical department. Support staff, allied health, your X-ray department, radiology department will do about the radiology. Lab people will do the lab services. And even in those, like who will head the unit? Nursing superintendent, what will be her qualification? What will be her position in the hierarchy? She will directly report to the medical superintendent, or she will report to the additional MS or DMS. So all these things are being given in the organization. What are the benefits or the importance of organizing? So first of all, specialization in the work. Division of work is there according to the skill and competencies. That's why you need different type of people in the hospital. Then clarity of working relationship is there. Clear line of authority and communication is there. If there is no clarity, who will be the superior and who will be the subordinate? What will be the line of authority and communication? There will be chaos in the organization. Duplication is avoided and optimal utilization of human resources done in this way. So, there is line authority, staff authority and functional authority. As the word says, line authority means between superior and subordinate. Already I have explained you, your CNO or nursing superintendent, DNS, ANS, senior nursing officer and nursing officer. This is line of authority. And subordinate is directly responsible to supervisor. That means your nursing supervisor is responsible to senior nursing officer to ANS, ANS to DNS, DNS to nursing superintendent and your nursing superintendent to MS or the additional MS. Line refers to positions in the organization and there is a direct chain of command. Staff authority. Staff authority is by virtue of position. They provide advice to the line manager. For example, your nursing superintendent is a line staff. She has a position in the nursing cadre, but she can be a staff authority to the kitchen or the dietary department because she can give sometimes, if required, advice on the diet of the patient, type of diet, when it's to be distributed, quality of diet can be monitored by her. And functional authority means that is individual or department delegate the responsibility to other department. Disaster team help the doctors and nurses in various wards to perform the mock drills. But they can be again involved in the disaster training also, these doctors and nurses, if they are being trained as a master trainers. So I think you have understood line refers to position in hospital that has authority, responsibility and accountability. Direct chain of command is there from top to bottom. Staff refers to position that provides services and advice to line management or the department is required in the other side of for the patient care. Functional That is, duties are divided on the basis of knowledge and skill. Principles of organizing. Delegation and authority. That means if there is someone is delegating some responsibility to, suppose the senior nursing officer delegate her responsibility to senior nursing officer, someone with 20 years of experience, she should delegate the authority to take decision also. If someone delegate only responsibility and say you cannot take any decision, sometimes it's very difficult. But one has to be very careful when they delegate the authority. Then ultimate authority can never be delegated. That means you cannot delegate full authority to anyone. Suppose senior nursing officer say to the nursing officer, you look after the indent of the ward store and you will count everything, emergency medicine. If something is less, you will be responsible. No. Still, if you delegate the responsibility, senior nursing officer is responsible if something goes wrong even. Principle of centralization and decentralization also need to be taken care of. That means how much authority is given to take the decision, and it's a centralized decision or decentralized in day-to-day activities. Supervisor can delegate the authority to subordinate with some rights, with some restrictions, so that subordinate can act on behalf of the supervisor, but still the supervisor retain the responsibility. She cannot blame that the outcome, if it is good or bad, whatever it is, she cannot blame the staff, but she has to appreciate the efforts and she also enjoy the appreciation if something goes right. Then span of management. That means the number of staff can be supervised or controlled by any supervisor. There has to be narrow span leads to effective control. That means if one senior nursing officer in one ward is supervising 4 your nursing officers, and in another one senior nursing officer is supervising 10 nursing officers, the span of control 4:1 will be more effective rather than the 10:1. So one has to see according to the situation, according to the availability of the resources, what will be the span of control. Span of control again depends upon availability of manpower, training and experience of supervisor, nature of work, training and motivation of the workers, and physical layout. If suppose the wards are very far, it's very difficult if the span of control is large. If you have given medical, surgical, OT also to one senior nursing officer, she will be only running and wasting her time. So one has to see the physical layout of the department also when the span of control is being decided. You can see one of the organization chart, that how the organization chart of the any state health level is seen from the state minister. There is a secretaries at one side. On the other side, there is a director health services. Under director health services, there are various departments are there. You can see here. So in this way, in this session, you are able to learn about what is planning and organizing. Why planning is important? Planning is the first step. It is a basis for doing other steps in the future. If time is spent, if it is critically analyzed, the facts are taken into consideration, what is the situation at present, gaps are identified, how much resources are there, limitations of an organization, strengths of an organization is taken into consideration. Because in every hospital when we go, we listen from the nurse managers, there is shortage of staff, shortage of equipment supplies, budget is very less, but one has to work within that. So nurse manager has to plan the activities within the available resources. More effective the planning is, more you review your planning at every step, more you take feedback, monitor, evaluate, more effective the planning will be. How you organize the services so that you are able to achieve the objectives of the nursing department, and your patient is also satisfied and your staff is also satisfied. I hope in this way you are able to understand what is planning and what is organizing and how it is important for a nurse manager to implement the plan and organize the things. Thank you so much.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study IGNOU offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media for you. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but students can write their examinations, assignments, practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
Welcome to the session on staffing as an element of management. As we know, human resource is very crucial, especially in the health department. They have to be selected very carefully because the patients have to be taken care of by the human resource in the hospital. It is very crucial to understand the need of the staffing, how to recruit, how to select them, and how to give orientation and retain the staff. So we see that management is a universal phenomena and all the nurse managers use the available resources to limited resources, I should say, nowadays especially, to get the work done through this human resource. Henry Fayol defined management as to forecast, to plan, to organize, to command, to coordinate, and to control the activities of the organization. And if you see, these all includes the functions of the manager or the management. Management is a process because management is getting the work done by others by performing the functions like planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, and motivating the staff. It is a social process. That means when human resource come to an organization, it is very important for a manager to have good interpersonal relationship with the human resource. They have their own values, culture. When they come to the hospital, they try to adopt themselves to the culture of the hospital. They have various groups are there, group dynamics are there. They have their own values. Then management is a system of authority. That means the manager is being given the authority and the responsibility is vested with the position. That means CNO will have its own position. With that position, there will be responsibilities and authority also. She will be responsible for overall care of the nursing care and the responsible for the activities of the nursing department. The elements of the management, I think all of you know: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, reporting and budgeting. So in this session mainly we will take into consideration staffing and few aspects of directing and controlling. So let us see what is staffing. Getting the right people who can perform the task effectively and efficiently, and very important for achieving the objectives of the organization. Staffing is the function that deals with finding the best people who can do the work in the best manner. That's why the selection process, the recruitment is so rigorous. Staffing begins with the planning. How much human resource, how many people you need, what category of staff you need in the hospital. Where you must have seen when new hospital is being established, with the building with equipment and supplies, the medical superintendent send the list that these many doctors, nurses, allied health support staff, class D employees we need for the hospital. Because there is specialization work is to be done to provide the direct patient care, and they need the approval. Then only they start the process of recruitment, selection, and if selected, the placement and training of the staff. Staffing is defined as the executive function which involves recruitment, selection, compensation, training, promotion, and retirement of the employees. These all are the components of your staffing or human resource management. What is the importance of staffing? Why you need to do this? Getting the right people. If you do not get right trained people who are experienced from a approved institution, you will not get people who will be able to provide care to the patient and understand the patient condition also, which helps in improving the performance and quality output. If your staff is selected properly with the required experience and training, then only the performance and the quality output will be there. Prevent over and understaffing. Estimation of the staff is very important. You cannot have overstaffing, extra staff and understaffing. If you see, most of our hospitals unfortunately are understaffed, and in some hospitals they are not positioned properly. So that is why if they are properly posted, they are not under or overstaffed, there will be job satisfaction among the staff. They will not be overloaded with the work. The staffing norms. In India, we follow the staff inspection unit, that is SIU norms, which were actually drafted in 1992. From that time still they are not being revised. It is high time. I think Government of India Ministry was planning to revise this, because if you see now the hospital has expanded, type of services has expanded and changed over time, role of hospital has changed. That's why it is very much required that SIU norms for the nurses need to be revised. Indian Public Health Standards for the district hospitals, CHC, PHC Health and Wellness Center, which is reviewed in 2022. You can go through this at the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare website. Then INC, Indian Nursing Council, they follow the SIU norms mostly. If you see, they have already uploaded at their website. You can go through if you want to see the SIU norms. Then staffing process. What is the process? How the nurse manager can do the planning? They have to estimate the human resource requirement. For that, they have to do the workload analysis and workforce analysis. Calculate the number and type of nursing staff required in an organization to achieve the objectives, and then conduct the workload and the workforce analysis. What is the difference? Workload analysis means it is a method used to calculate how many people will be needed in certain department. That is workload analysis, which depends upon type of patient, type of severity of the patient, type of procedures they have to do, how much work is required, time is required for doing each procedure they have to. It's a long process, but it is a very effective process. Workforce analysis means it provides information regarding the current workforce which is available, which includes their background, their characteristics, their education, their experience, what is their retirement age, how much, when their promotions are due, and when their retirement is due, so that for the future the workforce can be planned. So I think I am able to make it clear what is workload analysis and what is workforce analysis. Workload and workforce analysis is very important to be carried out by a nurse managers. Very few people do this, but it is very important, which will actually help you to identify actually how many staff you need. Why it is important? Because gap you can give justification. Because whenever you must have seen you send a proposal for increasing the staff, most of the time the health ministry or the department, they reduce to 50% sometimes. They say no, that much staff is not required because the cost is there. If you see, 80% of the budget goes for the salary and the other benefits of the staff. That's why the government is reluctant, because they say that whatever staff is available, do skill mixing, try to adjust the staff in the various departments whosoever is available. This will help you to give an evidence and show that how the quality of care can be improved. Then the recruitment. Recruitment means find the potential employees and getting them to apply. The main aim of the recruitment is to get more people to apply for the job. You will say, why more people? Because more people you have, then you can select the best people for your hospital. Because you need the best trained people to give the care to your patients. When people who are already working in that organization are allowed to apply for any post, maybe the contractual staff is there, then it is known as the internal recruitment. When there is an open recruitment advertisement is there, anyone can apply. It is a external recruitment. There are advantages, there are disadvantages. Many a times organization, why they do internal recruitment? Suppose someone is doing for 12 years, 15 years job on contractual post. They give because if you recruit someone from outside, they may get demotivated that I have not given the chance, and people from my junior outside, they are coming and getting the regular post. So it depends upon the policy. As per the policy on organization, advertisement is finalized, approvals are taken. Advertisement is given in the newspaper and even uploaded at the website also. Or sometimes your selection boards send a demand to the department and they then give the how many positions are there. Then this selection board give the advertisement. In the advertisement, they give the details, name of the post, pay scale or salary, which essential and desirable eligibility, qualification, experience, registration with the council, age limit, what is the group or the name of the vacancy, category, and the process of selection also gives, and they give the last date to be submitted. Once people have applied, the committee scrutinize the application and shortlist the candidates and invite them for the selection test or the interview on a specific day. The process of choosing the best candidate from a pool of prospective candidates is called the selection process. And then selection can be done through various processes. There can be only written examination, there can be only interview, or there can be written examination and interview. And nowadays, many hospitals prefer to have written examination, interview, then skill test, because they found there are certain people who are applying, they are not trained at what they want, that the minimum skills has to be there when they join the hospital. Then once they are selected, selection or the appointment letter is being sent to the employee, and they have to come and they have to undergo a medical examination. Once they clear the medical examination, they get the final letter and they have to come and join the institution. Or then they have to bring the original certificates as per the policy, complete all the administrative procedures, and the official joining is called as placement. Once they come and join, they are posted in certain hospital, in certain department. That means they are posted in that department. Then once they are being posted, as a nurse manager, one has to make a policy. All the new employees should get an orientation or induction. Why it is important? This will help them to get familiarized with the hospital, what type of hospital it is, what are the policies, rules and regulation, what is expected from them, whom they have to report to. They will meet the departmental heads and full nursing department, even the medical superintendent. They should be aware of the services, and various physical orientation also should be given. Sometimes this is referred as orientation, and in some places this is also known as in giving the induction. On the job training. In many hospitals, when the staff is posted, suppose they post them in the operation theatre or in the ICU. These are the critical areas, the labor room. If the employee has never worked in that area previously or have no experience of working, it is very important to give some on-the-job training. And basically, otherwise also, they are trained from different institutions, and the quality and the type of training they get is very different. So some hospitals prefer when they come, they are given on-the-job training. On-the-job training is also given when they are being transferred from one department to other department. Suppose one nursing officer is working for 5 years in OPD and she is being transferred to the ward, maybe or in the palliative care area. She has to given the on-the-job training so that she can work effectively. Staff development, that is updating the knowledge and skill for the current role, and even if they are transferred or even promoted, they have to be given the update the knowledge and skill, because the learning opportunities has to be provided by the nurse manager so that the staff grows and they are confident in working and providing quality care. Performance appraisal. After the employee work for 1 year, mostly the performance appraisal is being done. But nowadays there are certain institutions, whole year they are doing the performance appraisal. They maintain the anecdotal records, they have checklist, and they combine all those things. They take the feedback from the patients, from their colleagues, peer group, from their seniors, from their co-workers. Then they do the performance appraisal. That is 360-degree performance appraisal is done. But in the government sector, still that is 1 year performance appraisal is done by the senior. This is done not only to it helps in the promotion, but also helps where the staff need more training, where hand holding is required, what are the weak points which has to be taken care of, and what are the strengths of an employee. Then there is a promotion, transfer and disciplinary policies are there. So nurse manager has to see that she makes these policies which are very transparent and being communicated to all the staff who are working under her. That means the nursing superintendent will take, with the help of the ANS, will make all these policies and communicate to all the nursing staff. It is very important to have a transparent policies which should be applicable equally to everyone. But in reality, if you see, the transfers are very vague and varied. It depends. Sometimes the people are only working for 20 years in OPD and some people are only working in critical areas for years and years. So directing, very important factor. Directing means process of instructing, guiding, motivating, leading, counseling people in an organization to achieve the objective. Very important. If you want the people to do the work, if you want that they achieve the objectives, their performance has to be good. Very important, directing. That means supervision, motivation, leadership and communication. Very important factors. What is supervision? Supervision is not just going and finding the faults. It has to be overseeing what is being done and giving instructions to do the right things, guiding the efforts of the employee. If they are not able to do something, don't punish them or don't scold them in front of everyone. Try to see why they are not able to do. Do they need any further training or they are not experiencing doing certain procedures? So one has to guide as a supervisor rather than just finding faults and saying you do not do anything, you do not know anything. Very important. Day-to-day functioning and maintaining good interpersonal relationship. If as a supervisor, if you have a good interpersonal relationship with your staff, they will cooperate with you, they will understand you, they will listen. Even if you want to bring any change, they will accept the change. Motivation. Every employee needs motivation. If they do good work, appreciate immediately. Don't say the appropriate time will come, then only I will appreciate. Rewards. In many hospitals, the best nurse award, best infection control nurse award, these awards are given. And even certificates are given to appreciate their work. In many countries, if they complete 10 years, 20 years, they are being appreciated in front of others and given a certificate because this helps them to satisfy their needs of appreciation. Every worker needs to be appreciated because everyone has their qualities. Rather than finding the weaknesses, appreciate the qualities and the good work they do. Leadership. That means a nurse manager has to influence the behavior of the co-workers. You have to influence your nursing officers to do the work. Ability of the manager to bring a change in the behavior and have a good interpersonal relationship. Try to understand what are their professional problems, what are their personal problems. If they are not able to do something, why they are not able to do something. Lead them as a role model. Take risk. Take initiatives for the welfare of the patient and for your nurses. Communication. It is a process of exchange of ideas, views and facts and sharing of information. Written communication, verbal communication and your body language, most important. Suppose sometimes some staff may come to your office, but you are upset due to certain things. Your body language will speak. You are welcoming the staff or you are not welcoming the staff. So if you welcome with your body language all, they will share their problems. They will share their issues. But If they see your body language is like that, you are not welcome, you are not interested to listen, they will not. They will lose the confidence in you. So as a nurse manager, very important to understand your communication. The words you use in the letters you send, the emails you send, they have to be very polite and respectful. So, importance of directing. What are the importance? Help in bringing stability in organization. It enhances cooperation and commitment among employees. Helps in initiating actions to achieve the objectives and integrating the individual efforts. Help employees to assess their potential and capabilities and try to upgrade their knowledge and skill. Change in organization can be introduced by motivation, communication with the effective leader. Controlling, very important aspect. Controlling does not mean controlling some employee. That is, ensure the activities conform to the standards. That means whatever patient care is being provided, it is as per the set standards of the hospital. It is a process of comparing actually what is being done and against the standards which are being set, so that corrective measures can be taken in time to provide the quality, cost-effective care to the patient. The steps of controlling are setting performance standards. That means you should have standards for each and every activity of the nursing procedures and processes which are being done in the department, because that will help the nurse manager to have the standard against which she or he can measure the actual performance. That will help them to analyze the deviations and take corrective measures. Not punishing the staff, but to take the corrective measures. That means what is the importance of controlling? This will help the nurse manager to ongoing continuous process. It is applicable in all organization. It is goal oriented because it is very important to find out the gaps and deviations and to take corrective measures. If patient safety measures is to be taken, or infection control measures is to be taken, or skill and the knowledge is to be upgraded, this will help them to take corrective measures in time. So in this session, I think we are able to understand what is staffing. What are the steps? That is assessment, recruitment, your selection, appointment, placement, orientation, on-the-job training, performance appraisal, retaining the staff, promotion, transfer, and the retirement. You can see so many steps are there and very important for managing the human resource. Then directing. 4 important factors: your leadership, communication, motivation, and supervision, which has to be very effectively done. If you do all these things effectively, people will respond. The staff will be with you even if you want to bring any change or you want that your organization work towards achieving the objective. Then controlling, again, there has to be a standard, there has to be a protocols to be set against which you can measure the actual performance, not for punishing your staff, but to find the corrective measures. Corrective measures which are realistic, which you can do within time and which within the policy of your organization, and quality patient care can be improved. Thank you.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this or any other media system? or already part of any media system want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism and New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism and New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance their media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication. The eligibility is a bachelor's degree, and we are introducing this program in 3 languages: Hindi, Tamil and English. Students from national and international students can join either through online mode as well as in the distance mode. We have 4 postgraduate diploma programs, specialized areas in the field of development communication, digital media, electronic media and journalism and mass communication program. And all these 4 programs are available in distance mode. 2 programs are available in online mode, development communication and digital media. And we have specialized certificate program in
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sudhansh Sharma from School of Computers and Information Sciences. I welcome you all to this session of Machine Learning and Cyber Security. Actually, this is related to some of the subjects of MCA-NEW and MCA Online, wherein we are going to discuss some of the topics related to MCS 224, that is Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. And apart from this, we will be also discussing about MCS 227, that is Cloud Computing and IoT. And we are also going to cover a bit of the content from MCS 215, that is about the cyber laws, in fact. So to begin the session with, we are supposed to firstly understand why there is a need of this session, wherein we are going to discuss about machine learning and cyber security. Nowadays, day in and day out, the devices are peeping into our day-to-day life, and our data is being shared. When we are moving from one place to another place, the devices are keeping track of our routes. When we are purchasing something, the internet, the World Wide Web, the websites are taking care of that, what type of products we are selecting. We are using payment gateways and different banks services to perform the transactions. So that means the data is being continuously increasing like anything. Day in and day out, we are sharing the data, and data is the most important thing because it leads to the information related to us. So in this session, we need to understand that how cybersecurity is important in our life and how machine learning is also contributing to strengthen the cybersecurity. Although hackers and crackers are using machine learning also to break the security, and the concerned persons, the positive nodes are working to use the machine learning to protect the cyber data, information, and all those things. So the objectives of today's session are, in fact, please show the slide. We are over here to understand the basic terms related to the cyber world. We will be understanding something about the cyber security and the types of the cyber crimes. Apart from this, we will be understanding artificial intelligence, machine learning, and their role in securing the data in the cyber world. So in order to begin with, firstly, we are supposed to understand that why cybersecurity is required. Actually, when we need security when we are having something to lose. And as it is discussed that we are sharing a lot of data, and since the data abundance is increasing, one may misuse the data. So in order to secure that data, we are supposed to take proper measures. Now, how the data is increasing? And when in the earlier days, we were having a simple internet, we were having static websites, we were not having that many devices peeping into our lives. But the day in and day out, the World Wide Web is growing. So one should understand whether there is a difference in between internet and the World Wide Web. Yes, there is a difference. Internet is in fact an infrastructure, and World Wide Web is the service which is provided over that infrastructure. That means World Wide Web is that section of the internet which requires higher bandwidth. At the beginning, we were satisfied with pagers. We were not having smartphones. We were having feature phones. We were just making calls. But nowadays, we are using voice over internet protocol, on-demand videos. We are using generative AI to generate the data at runtime. So the bandwidth requirement is increasing like anything. So World Wide Web is that section of the internet which requires larger amount of bandwidth. So as a result of the requirement of the human being, there is a growth in the various versions of the web. We were having the era when we were having PCs only there. We were using FTP, emails and IRC, but at some time in nearly 1990 and 2000, Web 1.0 came into the picture. Thereafter 2.0, Web 3.0, and now we are into Web 4.0 and moving ahead. So that means we are continuously trying to consume maximum bandwidth, and that's why we are continuously requiring high-speed internets. Now, because we are continuously using the different utilities provided through websites, through devices, through our apps, we are continuously generating the data, we are sharing the data, and we are using that data. Now, nowadays we are having n number of devices. The smart watches are there, TVs are there, laptops are there. Every device is communicating with the with us. So earlier we were having only IPv4. The IPv4 is an addressing mechanism which was used when number of devices on the internet were quite less. We were only having, say, desktops, we were only having laptops, but nowadays, because of the smart gadgets, even the smart watches are there, we are having smart cameras, we are having various IoT devices which are being connected. So in order to have the addressing of those devices onto the internet, because they are being well connected, we need to have the higher level of addressing mechanisms. So we moved from IPv4 to IPv6. Now, you should understand that because we are having more and more devices, so that means more and more data is to be generated. So we need to secure that data. So Internet of Things is one of the important technology wherein we are allowing different devices to gather the data, to share the data, and we are also using these utility in our day-to-day life. We are all aware of. But the data is to be protected. So here lies the situation where we need to protect the data and wherein the cyber crime came into the picture. And in a simple terms, it is just is any unlawful act wherein the computer is either a tool or a target or a both. So that means IoT devices, the smart sensors, the sensor networks are generating the data. We need to protect that data. But hackers are also using the computers, also are using say webcams and smart audio devices to peep into our day-to-day life. So how should we get ourselves protected from that? This is the concern, because knowledge is the only thing which can help us to protect from the cybercrime. So cybersecurity is one of the important issue, and we should understand whether there is a difference in between cybersecurity and the information security. Yes, of course. Cybersecurity is a subset of the information security, and wherein the cybersecurity takes care only of the cyber world, whereas the information security goes ahead. Apart from the cyber world, it takes care of the other ways and means wherefrom the information can be gathered, can be shared, and it should be protected. So one should understand that because of the data generation, many cyber crimes had already happened, and we are having different type of cyber attacks, and in the news it is frequently shared that many articles are there that many times some confidential data is being leaked, some transactions are being lost, and frauds in the ATMs are being done. These are the frequent news headlines nowadays. So we are having different type of cyber crimes. We are having hacking, salami attack, and piracy and cyber warfare, stalking. These are some of the cyber crimes which are coming into the headlines day in and day out. Why we are sharing these terminologies? Because in order to understand what is the role of machine learning in securing the cyber world, one should firstly understand that what these terminologies means. So in fact, one should understand that machine learning, because as the technology is growing up, it is not only that the protecting agencies are using the upcoming technologies to protect the data, but the hackers and crackers are also using the advanced technologies likewise of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning to disturb the data. To likewise nowadays, deep fake is one of the cyber problem which is coming into the news, and where generative AI is actually leading to some of the problems. The data, the fake videos are being generated. You can generate the data. So generative AI is now a challenge, that how to address generative AI, the challenges generated through this. Now the concern is cyber security. So there are, it is not like that as if Web 1.0 is being transformed to 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So cyber security part is also taking in coming into the versions. Gone are the days wherein the cyber security all alone comes into the picture. Now the cyber security is requiring the tools and techniques from the artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning. We will be discussing about different algorithms, wherein what type of algorithms are suitable for what type of attacks and how they are being addressed. So let's understand what is the difference in between the cyber security and the information security. So just to understand, the cyber security is a subset and the larger area of the information security, wherein the cyber security is the use of the various technology and processes to protect the networks, computers, programs, and data from attacks, damages, or unauthorized access. Since all the computer systems rely on the operating system and networks to function, those areas are often targeted to attack and are main sources of many security vulnerabilities, wherein the information security involves protecting information from unauthorized access, use, disruption, modification, or destruction, regardless of whether the information is stored electronically or physically. So information security not only relates to the security of the data in the cyber world, it also relates to the security of the data in the physical world. So we are having different cyber tools. We are having firewalls, and different softwares are being there to stop the we are having antivirus, anti-phishing softwares, we are having hardware firewalls, we are having software firewalls, and many facilities are available. But since the intervention of artificial intelligence and machine learning came into the picture, so to secure the data in the cyber world, we need to have the understanding of these algorithms of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So in order to understand what is the relation between cyber security and machine learning, firstly let's understand what is the difference between artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. So actually artificial intelligence is the superset wherein it also accumulates machine learning and deep learning, though they are the subsets, and they are also contributing to cyber security. So new solutions of the cyber security are involving artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. So this is a brief description. So artificial is actually the mimic of the humanly behaviors, and wherein the machine learning is actually taking care of the statistical techniques to understand the patterns, and various pattern recognition mechanisms are there. And deep learning is a subset of the machine learning, wherein the neural networks are being exploited. Recurrent neural network, convolutional neural network, artificial neural networks are being used to identify the patterns within the patterns. Likewise, the deep learning is frequently used in the area of image processing, speech recognition, and many more areas like this. But machine learning is actually taking care of recognition of the patterns. So why machine learning, why we had not taken care of that deep learning, although deep learning is also contributing to cyber security, because deep learning is further subset of the machine learning. So on the broader side, we chose the topic that machine learning and cyber security. So many times when we look at the records, we want to find that whether I give you an example. We want to identify that whether a mail is a spam or not. So we use the classification algorithms to identify that whether the email is a spam or not. Apart from this, from the credit history, if we want to identify that from the credit score, we want to identify that whether the person will repay the loan or will not repay the loan, or whether there is a possibility of any fraud. So we analyze the patterns, payment patterns, and spending and earning patterns of a person particular, and by applying the machine learning algorithm, we can analyze that what could be the possibility that person could be a fraud. So fraudulent transactions can be analyzed by applying different algorithms from classification, clustering, regression, and we are having different type of algorithms to perform these tasks. So artificial intelligence is also required when we want to study the behavioral analysis. So what is the behavioral pattern of a person particular? So in that case, we are going to perform the trend analysis. We will be discussing about these things, but this is just an introductory session. So machine learning is in fact a subset, and it is actually involving data mining, it is involving data science, classical programming. So data, features and algorithms all are being amalgamated into the field of machine learning. Now, so far as the cyber security part and machine learning is concerned, as I rightly said, that user behavior need to have the monitoring. We need to have the monitoring about the files and the executable, that what is the performance of the person, what is the credit history, what is the credit score, CIBIL score. Based on that, we can find that the transactions will be the risk management can be performed, and by using machine learning, we can secure the data, we can secure the cyber world. So there are different machine learning algorithms, and we are having different techniques. Some types of the learning are say supervised learning is one of the important approach which is used by machine learning to solve the various tasks. It is a labeled approach. In fact, say we are going to search something, say in a room we are searching for the red color. So red is the label, and we will move, we will look into the entire surrounding, and we will try to find out wherein we are having the red color. So that means whichever objects are having the red color, we will identify that. So this is the labeled approach, and this labeled approach is able to classify the data. So say we are having a predefined pattern, and we are trying to find that pattern into the existing data. So classification can be used. So classification algorithms are there in the machine learning. We are having k nearest neighbor, decision tree, naive Bayes algorithm, support vector machines. There are different classification algorithms which are being used to perform the supervised learning. Now, many a times the labels, the patterns are not available. We need to produce the patterns, and so based upon say some crime has happened, but the person who is the culprit is not known. So based on the evidences, based on the various scenarios, the police is trying to locate that who is the culprit. So this mechanism is clustering. It is an unsupervised approach wherein the labels are not available, and we are having different algorithms. So like k-means is an promising algorithm, and we are having DB scan, and many algorithms are available to perform the unsupervised learning approach. So we are also having semi-supervised learning, wherein the amalgamation of supervised and unsupervised, that is labeled and unlabeled approach, are jointly together. In unsupervised learning, the unsupervised learning relates to the clustering approach. The supervised learning relates to the classification approach. Now thereafter we are having the reinforcement learning. Nowadays we are having various gaming applications. With the gaming application, we are making the student to learn something, or say we are having flight simulators, or we are having the driving simulators. So wherein we are using the award and penalty schemes. So reinforcement learning helps the person to learn. Say days are gone when we were using the cars to learn the driving on the road. Now driving simulators are available, wherein the person perform the driving into the studio itself and get the license, and flight simulators are also there. So wherein the reinforcement learning is frequently used. So this is a reward mechanism, reward and penalty mechanism. If level of penalty is increasing like anything, then the licensing authority may not issue the thing. So this reinforcement learning is also required in cybersecurity when we are performing the trainings on ethical hacking, wherein some task is given to the student, and that is to be solved, and if it is solved, the reward points are given, and if sufficient amount of reward points are gained, then the certification is granted. Otherwise the certification is revoked and it is not granted. So reinforcement learning is one of the important features which is being used in training the cyber experts. Thereafter we are having active learning also. Active learning is say the environment is changing, and you are being supported with some trainer. So it is a teacher support or a guided environment, wherein it is in fact a subclass of the reinforcement learning, and wherein the teacher and the guide is being supporting you when the environment is changing and you are being assisted. So there are different mechanisms which are used in machine learning. Likewise, we are having regression, and regression is for the prediction part. Say we are having some data, and we want to forecast the data in the coming future that this will happen or this may not happen. So as I had given you the example that by looking into the CIBIL score, the past credit history, we can predict that whether the loan can be repaid by this person or not. So for risk analysis, that whether the loan will be repaid or not, the regression analysis is very important. Thereafter, we are having classification mechanism wherein the labeled approach is there, and based on the labeled approach, we can identify that whosoever are the promising customers or whosoever are going to be the culprits. So we can classify on the basis of the pattern which we are looking for. Thereafter, we are having the clustering approach, which is an unlabeled approach, and based on the rules, we are supposed to generate the clusters. We are supposed to generate the most probable groups which are suitable for some particular environment, for some particular task. We are also using association rule mining, wherein we are performing market basket analysis. Say if a person is purchasing bread, then what is the probability that person will be purchasing the butter also. So in the cyber security, if the person is trying to break the security of one network, then what is the probability that the person will try to break the database security also. So association rule mining, in order to perform the interlinking in between the events, we are supposed to perform the association rule mining. And thereafter, we are having the generative rules. Generative models are there, which are very much into the limelight nowadays. We are having ChatGPT, generative transformers, wherein the generative AIs are able to generate the data, generate the scenarios based on the available data. So generative AI is now the present issue which cyber security persons are supposed to address. And thereafter, as I already discussed, that regression is frequently used for fraud detection, and we are having different regression mechanisms. Linear regression is there, polynomial regression is there, support vector regression mechanism is there. And we are also having deep learning equivalents to perform the regression mechanism. There we are having artificial neural network, recurrent neural network, neural Turing machines, and we are having differential neural computers. For classification, the spam filter is one of the most promising problem. The emails which are into the spam can be identified with the help of the classification algorithm. We are having different classification algorithms to perform this task. Likewise, logistic regression is there, k nearest neighbor, support vector machine, naive Bayes algorithm, decision trees, and we are also having random forest for the classification. Now, the deep learning equivalent also use the convolution neural network and artificial neural network for the classification. Thereafter, for the clustering part, wherein we are using the different algorithms for forensic analysis and malware analysis, because if some attack is done based on the events, based upon the situations, we are supposed to identify that where from the event has invoked. So for behavioral analytics also, we are using the clustering as a technique of machine learning. And we are having different machine learning algorithms, k-means and agglomerative clustering mechanism there, mean shift mechanism and Gaussian mixture models are also there. So far as deep learning mechanism for clustering is there, self-organizing map and coherent networks are very famous about the same. Thereafter, recommendation systems, we are using recommendation systems for the risk management, wherein say somebody is trying to apply for the loan on the fake part. So studying the past credit history, we can identify that the loan should be granted or not. So risk management is one of the important feature for association rule mining, wherein the recommendation system is taken care of. And we are having different machine learning algorithm. A priori algorithm is there, FP growth algorithm is there, Euclid algorithm is there, and in the so far as deep learning mechanism is there, we are having deep belief networks, and we are having restricted Boltzmann machines. And dimensional reductionality is also used many times in the phase detection solutions. So, and it is also discussed that generative AI is the present task, wherein the artificial intelligence machine learning models are generating the data on their own, and this is the present task which is to be taken care by the cyber security persons. So I conclude that that you are able to understand that we are covering different algorithms in the course MCS 224 and MCS 227, and you are able to understand that where there is the application of these algorithms in cybersecurity. So machine learning is actually is a tool which can be used not only for cybersecurity but for n number of applications in computer and other allied areas. And I think you are able to understand how machine learning can be beneficial to secure the environment in the cyber world. Thank you very much.
Are you a fresh graduate? Do you want to fulfill your educational aspiration by pursuing higher education in various interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary areas like environmental science, environment and occupational health, philosophy, sustainability science, folklore and culture studies? If yes, the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies offers various programs like Master's Program, Graduate Program, Postgraduate Diploma, Certificate and Appreciation Program. The school offers 5 Master's Program. Master of Science, Environmental Science. The eligibility criteria for MSc Environmental Science is Graduate in Science, BTech, BE, Agriculture Graduate, Forestry Graduate and Veterinary Graduate. School also offers Masters in Environment and Occupational Health, Masters in Sustainability Science, Masters in Philosophy and Masters in Folklore and Culture Studies. The eligibility criteria for these 4 Masters program is graduate in any discipline. School also offers various socially relevant and need-based PG Diploma program like PG Diploma in Sustainability Science, PG Diploma in Environment and Occupational Health, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies and PG Diploma in Migration and Diaspora Studies. The school also offers PG Certificate in Climate Change and Avshist Prabandhan Mein Praman Patra. The school also offers 2 doctoral programs, PhD in Environmental Science and PhD in Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. The school offers various innovative technologies and multimedia for providing a very excellent student support system. The study material is of high quality. The learner support is provided through Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani, IRC, Swayam Prabha and Swayam channel of IGNOU. For more detail, please log in to IGNOU website. For online admission in these programs, visit school site and also the Samarth online education portal of IGNOU. So please join these programs and fulfill your educational aspiration.
Welcome to all. In classroom situation, while the teaching learning process is taking place, doing the verbal instruction may not work well. Here comes the importance of preparing as well as presentation of the teaching aids. So, today we are going to discuss about planning for teaching aids. How do we plan while preparing teaching aids? For this, we have to take into consideration many aspects. So here, the first thing comes, what do we mean by teaching aids? This is an important question that comes, what is meant by teaching aids? And now we use the term teaching learning aids because while teaching, the learning is also happening. So we use the word teaching learning aids. What do we mean by teaching learning aids? Teaching learning aid, it helps the teacher to make learning more concrete, effective, interesting, inspirational, meaningful, and vivid. So here we can see that why we are using the various types of teaching learning aids. That to make the concepts, we know that all the concepts cannot be explained verbally. For this, we need some kind of concrete representation of the particular concepts, so that the concepts will become more clear in the minds of the learner. So the concrete part is important, as well as the teaching learning aids should be effective. The effective use of teaching learning aids is very much important. And the next one, we can see that it should be interesting. Just presenting teaching aids for the sake of teaching aids will not work. We have to make it more interesting. Next thing, when we look at, we can see that it should be inspirational. While going through the teaching aids, instead of giving the fact-finding or the direct expression, what we have to do, we have to make it more inspirational. Then it should be more meaningful and it should be clear. So meaningful in the sense that the teaching aid should give some kind of idea in the minds of the learner, so that the vivid clarification or the clear concepts can be developed. So here, as part of the teaching aids, what we have to think is that the teaching aids, the audiovisual aids, they are those sensory objects or images that initiate or stimulate curriculum and reinforce learning. So here, the curriculum is an important part, and here in the curriculum, we are discussing about the major concepts and the minor concepts, and sometimes there may be concrete concepts and sometimes there may be abstract concepts. While teaching the abstract concepts, this audiovisual aids or the teaching aids will work a lot, and it helps in the triangular process of learning. So this triangular process, we can see that it can be classified as motivation, classification, and stimulation. And those devices that help communication of ideas between persons and groups in various teaching and training situations. So we have stated that it is a triangular process. What is this triangular process denotes is that the monotonous of the classroom situation can be removed by the use of the teaching aids. So what is important is the aids which create motivation in the minds of the learners. So here, what to learn, what will be the next concepts, what will be the next idea, that type of curiosity is developing in the minds of the learners. Then we can see that we can classify the various type of the teaching aids, and there should be the stimulation on the part while we are presenting these teaching aids. So these things, we can see that the teaching aids, it helps the learning process to carry on through the sense of different senses. We know that there are 5 senses. So through these senses, the learning process will carry on. And it is a supplementary devices by which the teacher is able to clarify, establish and correlate concepts, interpretations and appreciations. So what is happening here? We can see that the teaching aids, it gives a clear picture of an abstract concepts, and then it gives some kind of supplementary, it acts as a supplementary devices, so that sometimes we cannot teach the igneous rocks or the sedimentary rocks in the aspects of while teaching that concepts, the concept of rocks in the classroom. So what is important? An example of the sedimentary rocks or metamorphic rocks we can show through the teaching aids. When we are not able to bring the real object in the classroom, what we are doing, we are showing these objects in front of the learners so that they will get an idea. And with the introduction of ICT, we know that we are lucky to view the different abstract concepts that is not possible to bring in a real way in the classroom. So a vicarious experience is developing while using the teaching aids. And here I want to quote William Arthur Ward that the mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. So here, what type of teacher we want to be? Whether we want to be a mediocre teacher or a good teacher or a superior teacher or a teacher who inspires. So mainly we know that the students want to make a teacher should be a role model. So in that case, we want to make some kind of inspiration in the minds of the learners. Then we can see that in the 20th century, this Nelson I. Green used the term visual education. And in this visual education, there we can see that Eric Ashby identified 4 types of revolutions. So these 4 types of revolutions can be categorized as education from home to school, written word as tool of education, invention of printing and use of books, and the 4th revolution in the use of electronic media. So we know that we are in the 4th revolution. So in the first revolution, what is happening is that there is no concept of schooling. So there we can see the first revolution, it happens when education from home to school happens. Then from the written word as tool of education. Then comes the invention of printing, and now we are walking in the age of the 4th revolution, that is electronic media. So this electronic media, it acts as a blessing in the minds of all the persons who want to know more or to learn more. And once again, I want to quote Coburn, 1968, that 10% of what the learners read can retain, 20% of what the learners hear can retain, 30% of what the learners see can retain, 50% of what the learners hear and see can retain, 70% of what the learner say can retain, and 90% of what they say as they do a thing. So here we can see the increase in the percentage when more senses we are utilizing. When we use only one sense, the capacity to retain is reducing, and when we use more senses, we can see that the capacity is increasing. Another quote that I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. So what is important here is that just seeing it will not be working, as it incurs only one sense organ, and when we hear and see and when we do, we can see that the inculcation of the various organs where it leads to remembering of things for a long time. Next, we are going to discuss about the need and importance of teaching aids. What are the needs and importance? So when we look at the need and importance, the first thing what is coming is good motivators. The second one, clear images, then based on maxims of teaching. Let us have a discussion on these 3 points, that how the teaching aids can act as good motivators, how they will give a clear images, and based how these teaching aids are based on the maxims of teaching. Good motivators in the sense that when the verbal instruction gives some kind of monotonous or boring in the minds of the learners, there we can use the teaching aids. And now we are blessed that we can use different kinds of PPTs where we can make it more interactive. So this interaction will reduce the monotonous in the minds of the learners. And there we can see the clear image of the objects is given, and these teaching aids, they are based on the maxims of teaching. What are the different maxims of teaching? We know that it is from the known to the unknown, from the familiar to the unfamiliar, from concrete to abstract. So here in the case of the teaching aids, we can see that the maxims, that is from concrete to the abstract. So the concrete things we are producing in the classroom, and the abstract things we can show through the use of the teaching aids. So it is catering to the maxims of teaching. And the next need and importance, we can say that it is supplement verbal instruction, vicarious experience, variety, and freedom. So what is important here is that in the beginning itself, I have stated that it supplement verbal instruction. So all the concepts cannot be taught verbally or orally. So the use of teaching aids will increase the effective understanding or a clear understanding of the concepts. Then the vicarious experience, that we cannot bring all the realistic thing. So it gives a kind of the vicarious experience in the minds of the learners. Then the variety, that various types of teaching aids we can use, and it will remove the boring in the minds of the learners, and there is freedom for the learners to understand the particular concepts in different ways. There we can see that now we are giving emphasis for the universal design of learning, where the multiple means of presentation of contents is possible. So this is possible through the different types of teaching aids. And then we can see that the opportunities to manipulate, retention, helpful in attracting attention. So this is other importance of using teaching aids, that we know that whatever we teach, how much we can retain, that is an important question. So the retention of the learning is possible through the use of the teaching aids, and this manipulative skills is possible through the three-dimensional or the working models. While we are using the working models, we can see that the manipulative skills is developing and then helpful in attracting the attention of the learners. That is also important. So here we can see when we talk about the need and importance, there are different importance while using the teaching aids. And the next one, helpful in fixing up new learning, vividness, saving of energy and time, and realistic. So regarding this, we have already expressed that all the objects we cannot bring to the classroom. There, through the use of the teaching aids, we can give a realistic situation in the classroom, and instead of explaining for a long time verbally, and in order to save time and energy, showing a picture which speaks 1,000 words. And then there is clarity on the part where we are teaching about a three-dimensional object. There when we show a picture, they can understand in what aspect the three-dimensional is important. And another thing, what we can see is individual differences, healthy classroom interaction, promotion of scientific temper. So here, the individuals who are sitting in the classroom, they are not alike. We know that each individual differ from each other in the interest, in the ability, in the attitude and aptitude. So here we can see that based on the individual differences, we can use different ways to teach a particular concept, and a healthy classroom interaction is possible through the use of the teaching aids. And another thing what we can see is the development of higher talents, the reinforcement reaching remote areas. So here we can see that the different types of sense organs are using while we are using the teaching aids. And then what we can see is that the teaching aids always reinforces the learning ability of the learners. And for the far-reaching students, for example, IGNOU, how we are using this PPT and the online teaching with the different aids that it can cater to the needs of the learners who are at a far distance. And another one, what we can see is that the positive transfer of learning is possible and positive environment for creative discipline. We know that just lecturing, it will create monotonous in the class, whereas for a conducive learning environment, we should use different kinds of teaching aids. So this is all about the different need and importance of the teaching aids. Next, we will discuss about the attributes of teaching aids, where the attributes can be classified into meaningful and purposeful, accurate, simple, low cost, up-to-date, easily portable, appropriate to the mental level of the learners, motivate learners, and it should be large enough. So regarding the attributes, when we discuss the various attributes, what is important is the teaching aids, whatever we show, it should not be for the sake of showing the teaching aids. It should be meaningful, it should have a purpose, and it should be simple. And we cannot spend a lot of money for preparing teaching aids every day. For that, we have to use low cost. And the teaching aids, it should reflect the knowledge that is up to date, and it should be easily taken from one place to another, and it should be appropriate to the age level and the mental level of the learners. And the teaching aids will always motivate the learners. And another thing, when we discuss about the teaching aids, we know that the teaching aid should be visible to the whole class. We know that the space, if it is a large space classroom, the size of the teaching aids should be large enough to be seen by all. And next, we are going to discuss about the principles for effective use of teaching aids. What are the principles we should keep in mind while using teaching aids? Regarding this, the principles for effective use of teaching aids, the first principle, that is principle of selection. This is an important principle, the principle of selection. And next comes the principle of preparation, then principle of physical control, principle of response, principle of proper presentation, and principle of evaluation. Let us see what does the mean by when we say the principle of selection. So this selection, it denotes that in what aspect or to which concept we are using the teaching aids, and in what stage we are using the teaching aids. So all these principles should be kept in mind. Then comes principle of preparation. How do we prepare? So what are the things that we use? And what about the size? What about the material? What about the dimensions of the teaching aids? This is important. And principle of physical control. Whether it should be a working model. Suppose you are going to teach about the solar system. If you use a working model of solar system, it would be more effective to understand the process of rotation and revolution. So we know that the students at the primary classes to teach the phenomenon of rotation and revolution, always use the working models. Then principle of response, what type of response is coming, then principle of proper presentation and principle of evaluation. And among the principle of proper presentation, if the teacher is not showing the teaching aids to the whole class or holding the teaching aids not up to be seen by the whole class, there will be no use. And if the teacher is using a map, and how the teacher is locating a particular place, that is important. And then the principle of evaluation. We know that from the teaching aids itself, we can use it as an aspect of assessment to know the knowledge they have acquired or the retention level of the learners or how much they acquire or attain the content. That is also important. And another thing what is important is the problems. There are different kinds of problems that may a teacher face while using teaching aids. It can be classified as apathy of the teachers, the indifference of students, ineffectiveness of the aids, financial hurdles, irregular power, need for training supply, language difficulty, not suitable to local needs, improper selection of aids. So here we can see that when the teachers are reluctant to prepare the teaching aids because they may say about the workload or different kinds of things. So the apathy of the teachers, it's a great problem in the case of utilizing the teaching aids. Then on the part of the students, if we are showing the teaching aids also, sometimes the students are not participating properly. So the indifference of the students will stand as a block in understanding or in clearly explaining about the concept. Then the ineffectiveness of the aids. If the aids is not according to the concepts, that creates more problem. Then if we are spending lot of money, the financial hurdles will create a problem. And suppose we are using through the internet, we are showing different kinds of things. If there is no regular supply of power, it becomes a hurdle. Then the need for training supply. Some efficient, highly skilled teaching aids, suppose we are using there, the training capacity is needed. Then the language difficulty. By just showing a picture, it won't work. How do we use the language? That is also important. How do we explain a particular process or a particular three-dimensional figure? That is also important. And suppose it is not large enough, that is also creating some kind of problem. And here in this context, this teaching aids, it is always related to the theory of Edgar Dale's cone of experience. So here the Dale's cone of experience, it consists of 11 stages starting from concrete experience at the bottom of the cone. And when it is reaching at the higher level, we can see that from the concrete, the abstract level, abstractness is increasing. And also according to Dale, the arrangement in the cone is not based on its difficulty, but rather based on abstraction and on the number of senses involved. And when we look at the cone of experience, we can see that how the cone of experience is going on. At the bottom side, there is the lower concrete objects where the degree of abstraction is increasing at the higher stage. So the abstract concepts will be at the higher, and there we can see what type of skills we are using, the motor skills and attitudes, the cognition skills, and at the top the information. So what type of things are there? There will be the direct purposeful experiences, contrived experiences, dramatized experiences, demonstrations, field trips, exhibits, motion pictures, audio recordings, photos, pictures, visual symbols, text and verbal symbols. So all these are important in the case of the teaching aids. So we can see there may be the different classification of teaching aids, the projected aids and the non-projected aids. And the classification can be audio materials, visual materials, audio visual materials. And the projected aids may be of the different kinds also. It includes films, film strips, LCD, PPTs, slide, everything. So different varieties of teaching aids we can use, and with the introduction of ICT we can see that the teaching aids can be used in an effective manner where the monotonous in the class will be reduced. So in this session we have discussed about what is teaching aids and what are the attributes of teaching aid, the principles underlying the teaching aids, and the need and importance of teaching aids, and some of the classification of the teaching aids. Thank you.
Hello learners, welcome to the session